Looking to get an Apple Watch but can't decide which one is right for you? Well, in this video, I'll go over everything you need to know about each Apple Watch and we'll put them to the test. Let's get started. So starting off, we have the first gen, also known as Gen 0, then it switches over to Series 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The best way you can tell which one is which is by looking at the back of the watch. Laser engraved into the housing, you'll see that the original Gen 0 Apple Watch only says 7000 series aluminum, while the rest of the watches will have either Series 1 through 5 engraved on it. So the Apple Gen 0 uses an Apple S1 chip, Series 1 has the S1P, Series 2 has S2, Series 3 has S3, Series 4 has S4, and the Series 5 has the S5. As far as memory is concerned, Gen 0 through Series 2 all have 512 megabytes of RAM, the Series 3 has 768 megabytes of RAM, Series 4 and 5 have 1 gigabyte of RAM. If you're planning to upload photos and music to your watch, the Gen 0 through Series 2 have 8 gigabytes of memory, the Series 3 has either 8 gigabytes for the GPS model or 16 gigabytes on the cellular model, Series 4 has 16 gigabytes, and the Series 5 has 32 gigabytes. Now, battery life is always a concern, so the Apple Watch Gen 0 and Series 1 both have a 250 mAh battery, the Series 2 gets a bump to 334 mAh, and the Series 3 gets bumped further to 352 mAh. We then get a redesign, and with that we get a substantial drop on the Series 4 to 291.8 mAh, and finally a 296 mAh on the Series 5. All the watches are made with an organic LED display, and the 42 and the 44 both have a pixel density of 326. The aspect ratio of the 42mm is 312 by 390 and 368 by 448 on the 44mm. Now, as far as waterproofing is concerned, the Gen 0 and the Series 1 only have an IPX7 water resistance rating, which is good for 1 meter underwater for 30 minutes, while the Series 2 through the Series 5 have a long ISO rating name, which translates to an excellent waterproofing and is good for 50 meters underwater. All the watches have Wi-Fi, but Gen 0 and Series 1 have no GPS or LTE capabilities. The Series 2 does have GPS, but it does not have LTE options. The Series 3 through 5 have GPS and an optional LTE cellular model with an eSIM. If you wanted to use the LTE services, well, that would require a data plan of an additional $10 per month. All the watches have an optical heart rate sensor, and the Series 4 and 5 have an additional ECG sensor that records your heart rhythm. You can record, and you and your doctor can check on your phone for atrial fibrillation, which is a form of irregular heart rhythm. So to test out the battery life of these watches, I strapped on all 6 watches and wore them for the day to see first off if they would survive a full day's use, and if so, how much battery would be left at the end of the day. Alrighty, it's 7:50 a.m. and I have the Gen 0, Series 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Apple Watches on my wrists, all at 100%, and I will be seeing how and if their batteries can hold up throughout the day. Let's get this started. Well, it's 12:16 and the Gen 0 is at 66%, the Series 1 is at 94%, the Series 2 is at 90%, the Series 3 is at 85%, the Series 4 is at 89%, and the Series 5 is at 86%. So it's 4:54, the Gen 0 is at 28%, the Series 1 is at 66%, the Series 2 is at 62%, the Series 3 is at 71%, the Series 4 is at 76%, and the Series 5 is at 68%. I'm going to do a quick workout walk around the neighborhood to see how much battery will be drained. So after a 12-minute workout, the Gen 0 is at 22%, Series 1 is at 60%, and the Series 2 is at 56%. The Series 3 is at 66%, the Series 4 is at 72%, and the Series 5 is at 64%. Well, it's now 7:27, and the Gen 0 is at 7%, the Series 1 is at 49%, the Series 2 is at 50%, the Series 3 is at 60%, Series 4 is at 64%, and the Series 5 is at 55%. So surprisingly, the Gen 0 died roughly 12 hours and could not survive a full day's use, and honestly that is quite surprising being that all the other watches had a substantial amount of battery left for the day. The best performing watch from this test was the Series 4, finishing the day off with 62% of its battery left, and I think that if the Series 5 always on display was deactivated, it would have probably gotten the same if not surpassed the Series 4. So wrapping up, if you're in the market for an Apple Watch, my recommendation for most people would be the Series 3 Apple Watch. It's water resistant to 50 meters, it has GPS and optional LTE connectivity, and its battery life competes with the Series 4 and 5. If you want to have the larger display, then I recommend getting the Series 4, as it also is water resistant at 50 meters, has GPS and optional LTE connectivity, and it has the added bonus of the ECG sensor along with a noise meter which tells you if you are in an environment that can be damaging to your ears. There are not enough differences between the 4 and 5 to warrant the upgrade, so I recommend that you just save your money. Both watches come in an aluminum and stainless variation, and I would personally recommend that if you can, choose the stainless option as it's much more resistant to scratching due to it having a sapphire display versus the aluminum Ion X glass that's similar to Corning's Gorilla Glass. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for Apple watching.